The emperors in a war. In the grand halls of Roman power, amidst war councils, political intrigue, and the daily burdens of an empire, Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, found solace not in external praise but in the quiet pages of his journal, what we now call Meditations. This was not a book written for fame or followers, it was a collection of personal reflections, a spiritual mirror to examine his thoughts and confront his flaws. One of the greatest life lessons we learn from these writings is the unrelenting commitment to self-discipline and self-awareness. Marcus, despite his rank, believed that character was more vital than titles. He reminded himself, daily, that fortune could not be controlled, but virtue could. In a world obsessed with control and appearance, Marcus turned inward, cultivating a moral fortress against the chaos around him. He urged himself, and now us, to waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. His tone is firm, yet compassionate. He wasn't preaching from a throne, but from a battlefield, both literal and internal. In his words, we see a man wrestling with anger, ego, fatigue, and injustice, yet constantly returning to reason and principle. He understood that the only true empire one can rule absolutely is the empire within. This mindset doesn't merely inspire, it challenges us. It strips away our excuses and exposes the truth that our reactions, not events, determine our peace. Marcus's lesson is that we must train our minds like soldiers, not to suppress emotion, but to master it. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." These are not abstract musings but practical tools, anchors for the storms of life. Whether facing betrayal or loss, stress or failure, Marcus's philosophy reminds us that the obstacle is not the end, but the beginning of the path. The Stoic ideal he embodies isn't detachment from life, but deeper engagement, with clarity, courage, and calm. This is the essence of true power, the kind not forged in gold or glory, but in thought and discipline. The art of dying daily. One of the most hauntingly beautiful lessons in Meditations is Marcus Aurelius's relationship with death. Rather than fearing it, he embraced it as a natural part of life, a reminder of urgency and clarity. He wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This wasn't morbid fatalism, but a call to presence. In every moment, death walks beside us, not as an enemy, but as a mentor. It whispers, "Live with intention." Marcus believed that by contemplating mortality daily, we are awakened to the true value of each breath, each interaction, and each decision. The Stoic concept of memento mori, remember you must die, becomes a spiritual discipline, a cleansing force that burns away trivial distractions and personal vanity. To live well, Marcus teaches, we must first learn how to die, not just at the end of life, but in small ways, every day. To die to ego. To die to needless desires. To die to anger and illusion. Each time we let go of what is unnecessary, we are reborn into what truly matters. Marcus observed the endless procession of emperors, generals, and philosophers who came before him, mighty men now dust. Their legacies, however grand, could not save them from the same fate that awaits us all. From this reflection, he drew not despair, but clarity. He asked, is any man afraid of change? Why? What can take place without change? What then is more pleasing or more suitable to the universal nature? He viewed death as a transformation, part of the order of things. And thus, we must live with excellence while we can, not to extend our lives, but to enrich them. In a modern world addicted to distraction, Marcus's Meditations are a wake-up call. Stop scrolling. Stop complaining. Start living. Every second wasted is a second closer to your final breath. Life, to Marcus, was not to be hoarded or feared, but to be honored. And honoring life means facing death, not with dread, but with grace. Let every decision be worthy of your last day. Reason as refuge. Another profound lesson from Meditations is Marcus Aurelius's insistence that reason is our refuge, a torch in the darkness of chaos. He believed that if a person cultivates reason, they can never truly be harmed. Pain, failure, humiliation, loss, these can touch the body and even the reputation, but not the rational soul unless we allow it. If you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment of them, he wrote. This wasn't denial of suffering, it was a transformation of it. Reason allows us to examine events through a cosmic lens, to see not just what happened, but why it affects us. Through reason, we question our impulses, detach from irrational fears, and realign ourselves with virtue. Marcus constantly reminded himself that all things are part of nature, and to resist them is to resist life itself. This acceptance is not surrender, it is harmony. When we operate from reason, we become unmoved by insults, immune to flattery, and anchored amidst confusion. Reason becomes a sword and shield, cutting through illusion, and protecting us from despair. Marcus understood that anger, jealousy, and fear are shadows cast by ignorance. And thus, the cure is understanding. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice, he noted. In this, we find the strength to rise above. Not to react, but to respond with dignity. He taught that reason must guide our every action, especially when emotions swell. To pause. To reflect. To act not from ego, but from principle. In a noisy, reactive world, this lesson is revolutionary. When everyone is shouting, the Stoic remains silent, not out of fear, but clarity. And when they speak, their words carry the weight of thought. Marcus didn't just preach logic, he lived it, daily correcting himself, forgiving himself, and returning to his mental citadel, reason. He showed that philosophy is not for bookshelves, it is for battlefields. It is for heartbreak, for hard days, for real life. And by building our lives on reason, we build on rock, not sand. The community of all things. The final lesson we draw from Marcus Aurelius is his deep understanding of interconnectedness, the Stoic belief that we are all parts of a greater whole. Though he ruled an empire, Marcus saw himself as a mere thread in humanity's vast tapestry. He often reminded himself, what is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bee, grounding his actions in service and duty rather than personal gain. For Marcus, the universe was a rational, ordered system, and each of us has a role within it. When wronged, he urged understanding, people act out of confusion. When fortune fades, he reminded himself it never truly belonged to us. And when death neared, he welcomed it like rest after a long day. He believed that compassion, forgiveness, and patience are not weaknesses, but signs of wisdom. We are not isolated egos, but expressions of the same rational nature. A Stoic life, he taught, is a social life, one lived in harmony with others, guided by reason and service. Even the rude and arrogant were, to Marcus, teachers, opportunities to practice virtue. In his meditations, he offers more than reflections, he gives us a way to live, with humility, with courage, and with love for the whole. To live wisely, serve others, and die with peace, that is the Stoic path.